I donated my kidney to my fiancée, but she left me for another man, got pregnant, and shattered my world. Here's why I'm so heartbroken. I'm sitting here, scrolling through the screen, tears welling up in my eyes, unable to think straight. I don't even know what I'm doing with my life right now. It feels like I'm just drifting through a fog. My mind is racing, my heart aching, and all I want is to make sense of what's happened. I'm emotionally drained, exhausted to the point where it feels like my soul is giving up on me. I'm writing this because I don't know where else to turn. Maybe someone here has been through something similar. Maybe you can help me find clarity. Let me rewind and tell you everything. I've never shared this, and part of me wishes I never had to. But here I am, trying to piece my life back together. Elena and I were inseparable throughout high school. She was my high school sweetheart, the love of my life. Everyone could see it. Our bond was something different. People often said we were the couple that just got it. We had a connection that was almost beyond words, and we were constantly together, whether it was at school, at lunch, or just hanging out at the park. We couldn't get enough of each other. We would talk for hours about everything and nothing at the same time. Our dreams, our goals, the kind of family we wanted to have. We'd picture the house we'd buy, the kids we'd raise. We dated for 5 years, and it felt like everything was perfect. Then came the news that shattered us. Elena was diagnosed with a kidney disease. The doctors said she needed a transplant, and everything we had dreamed about seemed to hang in the balance. I couldn't bear the thought of losing her. So without hesitation, I volunteered to donate my kidney. I couldn't stand to see her in pain, and I couldn't imagine a life without her. She was shocked that I would do this for her, but we made a promise that nothing would come between us. A year later, we were both healing, physically and emotionally. I was so relieved to see her get better. I remember one night, sitting together, I told her that I was planning to propose soon. I wanted us to start our family, but I needed to know if she was emotionally and mentally ready for that chapter. I wasn't going to rush her, but I needed to know we were on the same page. She smiled, took my hand, and said she was ready. She told me she'd always been ready, as long as it was with me. I felt like everything was finally falling into place. We were going to have the life we'd always dreamed of. Our future was secure, and I was certain that nothing could tear us apart. The day came, and I proposed to her in the most unforgettable way, surrounded by family, friends, and a planner who went above and beyond to make it special. She was over the moon, glowing like she was the luckiest woman on earth. I thought I had it all figured out. We were going to build our future together, and nothing could stop us. It was perfect, or so I thought. Fast forward to 3 months after the engagement. I was at work when I got the call. Elena said she wanted to talk. I didn't think much of it at first. Maybe it was about wedding plans or something small, but when she showed up at my apartment later that day, I could tell something was off. Her face, usually bright and full of warmth, looked like it was carved from stone. She sat down across from me, avoiding eye contact, and after a long, uncomfortable silence, she said it. She wasn't interested in marrying me anymore. She told me that she'd realized she didn't love me as much as she thought. She had met someone else and, out of respect for our past, wanted to let me know. My heart stopped. It felt like someone physically punched me in the chest. I couldn't process it. We had no issues. In fact, the night before, we had spent hours laughing, talking about everything from our wedding to future vacations. She had been so in love. At least, that's what I thought. So I looked at her, hoping it was some sick joke, some weird prank. This is a joke, right? I asked, my voice shaking. You're just messing with me, right? But she didn't laugh. Instead, she looked at me with a seriousness that froze me in my tracks. This isn't a joke, she said, her voice steady and unwavering. This is real. We can't go on with the wedding. And I mean every word. I looked at her and asked, what's wrong? I thought we had something priceless. Why are you cutting off the engagement? She didn't say a word. The silence between us grew unbearable. Then, without a second glance, she removed her engagement ring and dropped it on the table, the sound of it hitting the surface echoing in the stillness of the room. My heart dropped with it. She turned to walk toward the door, but I couldn't just let her go like that. I grabbed her hand. my voice desperate. "Talk to me, please. Elena, what's happening?" She pulled her hand away, avoiding my gaze, like she couldn't bear to look at me. The fear started to creep in, and I asked again, my voice shaking, "Who is this guy?" Her eyes flickered. Then she finally spoke. "You know him." Her voice was cold, distant, and it hit me like a punch in the gut. She didn't say more. She didn't need to. And then, without another word, she walked out the door. I stood there, rooted to the spot, my mind racing. I couldn't process what had just happened. Every part of my body felt weak. It was like a wave crashing over me, drowning me. How had we gone from planning our wedding to this? How had everything we built together, our love, our plans for the future, collapsed so suddenly? I thought about the engagement, about how excited we were, how our families were looking forward to our wedding. I thought about the sacrifices we made, the years we spent together. I was losing my mind, trying to make sense of it all. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think straight. It felt like I was trapped in some nightmare, and no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't wake up. The next day, still reeling from the shock, I called Elena's mom. I needed answers, and maybe, just maybe, she could offer some insight. But when I spoke to her, it was like I hit a wall. "She's an adult now," her mom said flatly. "She makes her own choices. You two need to sort this out on your own. Don't involve me." Her words stung. I didn't know how to respond. Elena's mom had always been supportive, but now she was treating me like a stranger, as if the whole thing wasn't worth her time. I didn't know where to go from there. Our wedding was supposed to happen in a year. It was supposed to be the happiest day of our lives. But now, everything had come crashing down. My mind kept replaying our conversations, the way we talked about our future, how we dreamed of having a family together. I couldn't reconcile that vision with the woman who had just walked away from it all. I became withdrawn. I quit my job, stopped seeing friends, and shut myself off from the world. I was spiraling, unable to function, unable to understand how the woman I loved could leave me so easily. All I wanted were answers, but it felt like the world was slipping away from me, and I couldn't find a way to hold on. Then, a month later, Elena called. My heart skipped when I saw her name on the screen. "I'm coming to explain everything," she said, her voice softer than I expected. I could hear the hesitation in her words, like she wasn't sure how I would react. I didn't know what to feel. A part of me wanted to hang up, to tell her to leave me alone, to be angry at her for everything she'd done. But the other part of me, the part that still loved her, was desperate to hear her side of things. I didn't know if hearing her explanation would fix anything, but it was the only chance I had left to understand why everything had fallen apart. She came over that afternoon, knelt down in front of me, and started crying. I felt my anger rising, the frustration bubbling inside me. I didn't want to see her tears. Not now. Not after everything. I needed answers, not an emotional scene. Go straight to the point. I told her, my voice tight with irritation. "I don't want all of this. I want to know why you chose to hurt me so badly for no reason." She looked up at me, her eyes red and swollen from crying. "I'm sorry," she whispered, her voice shaky. "I ended our engagement because I couldn't betray you any longer." I was confused, my heart pounding in my chest. "How?" I asked, my voice breaking. "What do you mean?" She took a deep breath, as though gathering strength, and said, "I ended the engagement not because I don't love you anymore, but because I couldn't keep deceiving you. I didn't want to give you false hope." Then she paused. For a moment, the room was completely still. "I didn't want to give you another man's child," she said quietly. My mind went blank. "What?" I choked out, barely able to breathe. It was as if the floor should open up and swallow me whole. I couldn't understand what I was hearing. She continued, her voice almost too soft to hear. "I'm 2 months pregnant for another man." The words hit me like a freight train. I was numb, unable to process anything. I felt like I was losing my mind, my world crumbling in front of me. I couldn't move, couldn't think. The silence between us was deafening. "Are you saying you've been cheating in our relationship?" The question left my mouth before I could stop it. I needed to hear the truth, even if it broke me. She didn't look at me when she spoke next. Yes, she admitted quietly. I've known him for 3 years now, even before the surgery. I didn't know how to react. My mind was screaming. I felt like I was drowning, unable to get a grip on reality. Was I not enough? I asked, my voice trembling. What wasn't I doing right? She didn't respond. I could feel my world crashing down around me. Who is this guy? I asked, the desperation in my voice growing. And then she dropped the final bombshell. It's Danny, she said, her voice trembling. My mind reeled. Danny? Our family friend? Danny, the one who had been a part of my life for as long as I could remember. Our families were so close that we celebrated holidays together. Christmas, New Year's, birthdays, even Thanksgiving. We did everything together. His family was like my second family, and I thought of Danny as a brother. I couldn't process it. Danny? I repeated, barely able to form the words. The same Danny who stood by me during my proposal to you? The same Danny who was like a brother to me? She nodded, her face full of shame. I felt like I was going to collapse. The person I trusted most in the world, my closest friend, had been the one to betray me in the worst possible way. I felt like a fool, like I had been blind all this time. How had I not seen it? How had I let myself be so blinded by love, by trust, that I couldn't see the truth right in front of me? Danny and my family had been close for over a decade. Our families were intertwined, sharing holidays, dinners, and so much more. And yet, behind my back, this had been happening. I felt like the floor had fallen out from under me. I had trusted him. I had trusted them both. And now I was left standing there, broken and betrayed. I was heartbroken. I told Elena to leave, that I was done talking. She cried and apologized for everything, saying how sorry she was for hurting me. But in that moment, I couldn't even look at her. She left, and the door slammed behind her, leaving me alone in the silence of my own shattered world. I didn't know what to do. My mind was reeling. I called my parents and told them everything that had happened. They were devastated, as much for me as for betrayal. They were heartbroken. I could hear the pain in their voices as they tried to comfort me, but there was nothing anyone could say to make this right. I was still reeling when I picked up the phone and called Danny. Confronting him was something I never thought I'd have to do, but I couldn't just sit back and let it go. I asked him why. Why would he do this to me, to my family? His response was hollow. He kept saying he was sorry, but there was no real apology, no explanation. Just an empty, I'm sorry, repeated over and over. In that moment, I felt the weight of the betrayal more than I ever had before. I ended the call abruptly, unable to hear any more of his excuses. I was down, deep in a pit of despair, but I was glad I didn't do something stupid. I almost did, I'll admit, but somehow I found the strength to hang up and not act in the heat of my anger. But my health was failing. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep. The weight of it all was unbearable. I was losing myself, physically and mentally. My mom came to my side, and after seeing the state I was in, she rushed me to the hospital. I was admitted for 2 weeks to stabilize, and slowly, I started to feel better. That's when I realized I needed to heal. I couldn't continue living in this misery. I couldn't stay in a place where all my memories with Elena, all my dreams were shattered. I knew I had to make a change. So I packed up what little I could carry, sold my car, and left the U.S. I moved to Germany, hoping that the distance would help me reset, help me heal. 3 months have passed since then. Germany has been a fresh start, a place where I can breathe again, where I can focus on myself. I've been working on a book, writing about everything that happened, trying to pour out my emotions onto the page. Writing has become a way for me to heal, a tool to help me process everything I've been through. My mom told me that Elena has been coming to the house, begging for a chance to talk, asking for my contact information. She even tried to convince my mom to give her a way to reach me. But my mom, strong as always, warned Elena to back off. She told her she had no ties to the family anymore, and that if she didn't stop, she'd call the police and file a report for trespassing. I felt relief hearing that. I told my mom not to give her or anyone my contact. I deleted all my social media accounts and only gave my contact information to my family. I don't want any distractions during this healing process. Now, I'm focused on getting better. It hasn't been easy, but I'm getting there. If you were in my shoes, what would you have done? And if anyone has tips or things I could do to heal faster, I'd be most grateful. This has been the hardest thing I've ever faced, and I'm just trying to find my way back to who I used to be